Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Larry Kudlow Show. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Welcome back, everybody. We're going to do some stock market work. By the way, this show, you can get this on the internet. I always say this because it gives us a broader audience. You can live stream us. LarryKudlowShow.com. LarryKudlowShow.com. All right, if you can't, that's all across the country, around the world, throughout the solar system, including the Milky Way. And by the way, drop by Fox Business. I promo the show, the TV show, fabulous Fox Business, 4 p.m. every day, Monday through Friday. Kudlow's the name of the show. And if you can't get there for 4, well, gee whiz, just text your favorite 9-year-old. She'll show you how to do it. I want to play some tape from my interview with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent yesterday. He's a great friend of mine and doing a hell of a job, but he's all this subpoenaing of Jay Powell, the Fed chairman, is getting in the way. Let's see. Let's roll some tape. Start with that.
They just print the extra $700 million, whether it turns into an extra billion, an extra $1.5 billion. They just print it. I can't do that. If I want a new chair in my office at Treasury, I have to go through the appropriations process.
This is the great Jay Powell printing money for his cost overrun, $700 million for these two buildings. And that's what the whole business was. He was subpoenaed. No grand jury yet, no charges yet. But he's trying to martyr himself as a great Fed chairman, and he's done a very, very poor job damaging the Fed's independence. We talked about it earlier in the show, but I thought I'd put it up there because it does raise the issue. We're going to have, I think, whatever goes here, they're going to have to remove the subpoena. And then Powell will be replaced by someone, and it seems like it's now Kevin Warsh because President Trump yesterday said Kevin Hassett is such a good communicator that they want to keep him in the White House. So it looks like it's going to be Warsh. Let's talk about that with our pals Jack Bouroudjian, who's the chairman of SmartX Data, and Pete Najarian, who's the co-founder of Market Rebellion and Option Monster. Two great guys and old friends. So, fellas, just play with this for a little bit. Jack, I'll start with you. It looks like now, I mean, you can't be 1,000% sure, but it looks like Kevin Warsh is the guy. A very smart fellow, okay? We probably don't talk enough about him. I've known him for years. I don't think he may have been on radio, but we have him on TV occasionally. Very smart guy. And he will be the new Fed chairman. Now, what does that mean to you as an investor, changing the guard at the Fed? What do you think, Jack?
Well, you know what? I think either of the Kevins would have been a good choice. So to be honest with you, I think the market's telling you exactly what it thinks, and I think that the market is right. You know, it's digesting this news. But more importantly, and this is, I think, the bigger story there, is the fact that they're not reacting to what's happening to Powell. And, you know, to me, you know, if you think about it, the market's looking at Jay Powell, and he's like a pitcher that's in the 8th or 9th inning. He's not fooling anybody anymore with his curveball. His fastball has lost its punch. You know what I mean? There's nothing left in the tank, but he just won't come off the mound. And that's really where we're at with him. So we've just got to put up with these next few months is what I'm thinking.
That's fabulous. Mm-hmm. He can't get through the red zone. Can't get the ball over the end zone, Pete. He just can't get it over the goal line, can he? I love that. That's really good. What do you think? Is this it didn't look like the market reacted at all to all this shenanigans. What do you think?
Well, and like Jack just said, I mean, the ability to digest news in the markets these days has been absolutely incredible, right? I mean, we come up with something, it seems like, that's going to be unbelievable for the markets, and yet the markets just seem to be able to continue to trudge a little bit farther up, and it's been very impressive to see how that moves. Now, when you talk about the two Kevins, this Kevin's great. I think he fits the mold of what we're looking for, but that's not going to happen for a few months, guys. So we're going to have to still continue to go through this whole thing and listen to the Fed and listen to Jerome as he gets up there and gives us his view of things. And I still will say this. Still think he's an incredibly sharp character, but was he behind the eight ball a little bit? Probably, but I think he put himself there because there were times where we probably had the ability to want to do the cuts. We should have done some cuts, and we didn't. And that was something that I think the markets kept on waiting for. When are we going to do this? And we finally got a couple, but it's going to be interesting to see how the markets digest this over the next couple of weeks and maybe even further out than that, because really, right now, everybody's focused on earnings. And as much as, we want to talk about the Fed, we want to talk about, who's going to be the next Fed chair, and I think we probably have a pretty good idea on that. But I think that the reality is, how does this look again? Earnings do stand out, and it's been an unbelievable start, I think, to the earnings season with these financials that they just continue to roll along and give us numbers that are, I think, extremely impressive.
I used to remember when I was working on the street that bank earnings are really important, because if banks are profitable, it's a really good sign for the economy and the market. I don't know if that's still true if people look at that, but it used to be. You separate things, transportations, technology, and so forth. But let me see, the KBW Bank Index, the last 52 weeks is up 24.7%, so call it 25%. You're right, the earnings came out, and they were all very good. Isn't that a sign? I want both of you to weigh in, but Pete, continue, please. Isn't that a sign? Good economy, good stock market, banks will be able to finance what we need to be financed?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is. I think it's a great tell for us. And we've been seeing it going on now for quite some time. Here we are. We sit at all-time highs for the XLF, the SPDR ETF for the financials. That's been fantastic. You look at that, the movement we've had out of that over the last, you could say, 5 years, you could say 1 year, whatever you want to look at. It's been an incredible move to the upside. And to your point, I think it's a great read-through. It tells us a lot about where we sit right now. And when you look at the Morgan Stanley numbers that absolutely crushed it, and the Goldman Sachs numbers on the earnings side for sure that absolutely crushed it. And, you could say the same of JP Morgan. The bank earnings really do start things off, and I think it's a great focal point for all of us to take a look at that, because it's not just about the IPOs, but when you really look at what's happening, we're in a really, really strong position right now from the banking side of things. And I can tell you on the option side as well, they keep on coming and buying upside options in the XLF as well. So they're going out in time. They were buying in January this week. They were also buying all the way out into March, and they bought huge numbers. 80,000 options were getting bought this past week out in March, looking for exactly what we're talking about, which is it's not over. These financials have reported, but the numbers look so good that people are pretty excited about what it looks like even for the next quarter and the next quarter.
Well, you always tell me to look at the VIX. Yes, VIX index is 16, low. It just looks all very healthy. Jack Bouroudjian, what's your take on the banks? And, the Atlanta Fed, just pause for a minute, because I'm calling it the Trump boom. The Atlanta Fed now is over 5% for the GDP now estimate, the tracker, for the fourth quarter, which is amazing because that was the government shutdown quarter. So if you got 5, it really would have been 7. And I think we're going to see 7s. Inflation coming down. But, Jack, profits of the mother's milk stocks, and they look very good from banks on down.
They do, Larry, and my big Armenian brother is 100% right. Okay, everything that he is saying. In fact, Scott Besson came out and said, don't be surprised to see a 3 number when we start revising that fourth quarter GDP. I think by the time we're done, when we're sitting here next year at this time, we'll be talking about 4 and 5% numbers that have come out. We'll be looking at a 7,500 S&P. These are the foundations. What we have been looking at with these bank earnings, and let me put it into perspective, what Pete just said into perspective for you. It is setting the foundation for a huge upside move. That's the way the foundation is set. First, you allow these banks to get healthy, they make money, and guess what happens? They lend that money out. You free up that seed capital. And that's exactly how we're looking right now. Look, you couple that with the fact that you've got Donald Trump turning the Western Hemisphere into the new OPEC with a moral compass, right? When he gets Venezuela, all of a sudden, that changes everything. You're looking at $35 oil. And you realize what that does?
Oh, wow.
That takes us down to an amazing level with deflation and takes us up to an amazing level with production and profitability. Really, I think the next 12 months are going to surprise everybody.
I really love that. By the way, I can't name names, but a very senior executive at a very large oil company, who's a very dear friend of mine, said to me, they can make money at $35 a barrel, and of course they'll buy up all the competition. I just can't name names, but that's the best I can do. That's a very famous global company. Okay, and we're going to have to take a break, but you know what that means? That oil is so important, it's so pervasive to the economy. It means you're going to get negative CPI prints. It's coming. And that will, as Jack noted, boost the real GDP. You're going to get 6s and 7s if this thing comes. If you go to 50, like Trump said he wanted 53, right? It closed, let me see, crude oil closed at 59.5, 59.44. We haven't seen that since the 80s. It's just prices falling, output going up, GDP rising, and then you got all the productivity stuff. We'll talk about low unit labor costs is good for profits. But that I like it, Jack. I like it. You got to have a vision. I like the vision very much. That's the way you deal with this. You have to sort of reimagine the whole thing. Anyway, his curveball never worked. I just want to say that. The curveball never worked. So we got a Trump boom. All right, we're talking stocks, but it's a Trump boom. 5% plus growth. He's going to Davos. Talk to all those left-wing, socialistic, corpocratic globalists. And teach them something about Trump growth. Boy, Davos, I used to have to go with him. What a mess. All these lefties, this is terrible. We got Pete Najarian, who's the co-founder of Market Rebellion and Option Monster, and we got Jack Bouroudjian, who's the chairman of SmartX Data. Let me continue. You were talking about the Fed and so forth. Does the Fed, Jack, does the Fed cut rates at all? While let's see, he's got 3. Jay Powell's got May. So this is the end of June. So he got 4 months. Are there any more rate cuts in 4 months? Do we care about rate cuts, by the way?
I think we have to look beyond that, unfortunately. I've got a feeling that there's going to be, his ego is going to play a big role in this, and he's going to end up, constantly, crying foul every board meeting, so you can almost see it. You know what I mean? So we almost have to look beyond that, wait for the new guy to come out. But the real story, Larry, and this is something that we have to touch, since we're talking about the Trump boom, is the shrinking negative trade balance. It was down 39% last week, and nobody was talking about that. The lowest since 2009. That is another indication that things are working on a global stage like they haven't in decades.
Yeah, we had a guy, this Arthur Herman from the National Security Council, and he's a historian. It's killing China. We're around the whole world. The U.S. is excelling. It's like the U.S. is pulling away from the rest of the world here. So Pete, people should stay invested. People should commit money. Give me a little strategy thought.
Oh, I absolutely believe in that. Yes. And one of the other things is, guys, that I think that we haven't talked about it yet, but I think just real quick, when you look at what's happening with gold and you look what's happening with silver, and silver has been an absolutely remarkable run to the upside. And I can tell you that as far as what we are seeing in the options world, that is not an over yet. I mean, they still have plenty of room to the upside, and people are going after it. And for the people who don't know, silver has a lot of different things that it does. I mean, from solar to smartphones to jewelry to medicine to chemical, catalysts like that are antifreeze. All of these things, believe it or not, are all in need of and demand silver. And of course, when we start talking about the AI world, and I know we didn't talk a lot about that, but that has turned around in a big way as well. And who's using all of that silver? Well, a lot of the different parts of the AI world, specifically talking about some of the semiconductors and all the rest of it. It really is something that I think people called that a bubble that there was going to burst. There are names that are absolutely a bubble, guys, but not all of them. And some of them are doing incredibly well. So, yeah, there's a bubble on those that don't have any PE and all the rest of it, but there's plenty of names out there that are actually doing extremely well. And, so I think it's something that we should still stay very focused.
Wow, very interesting. Jack Bouroudjian, I got 30 seconds, 40 seconds. What do you like here?
I like financials. I like technology. You cannot find generators to back up these new data centers. Everything is sold out. We're on the verge of a boom.
$35 oil from Jack Bouroudjian. What a great call.
The Larry Kudlow Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
It does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.